the bolster. You want to prepare yourselves for that. So we can either be, if your knees are not wanting to do that, we can have a block between your feet with your knees together. I'm going to sit on the edge of the bolster, cross-legged, just normal cross-leg. Can also take the feet and just bring one in, top of the foot, and the other. This is Sukhasana. Actually, that is Sukhasana and oh, let it come. So wherever you're comfortable, that would be cross-legged or kneeling. Let's go ahead and start. And whoever sneaks in, sneaks in. So guys, my name is Jen. I'm a recent graduate of the teacher training program. I don't know if you've been to the community classes before. This is a wonderful thing Joy is doing. 12 every Saturday for the foreseeable future. So thank you for being here. So let's all go ahead and just, if you're on the bolster, maybe I like to move the flesh of my rear out a little bit. Your thighs are going to be turning in, but it's almost imperceivable. And then your shoulders and your hips are going to stack. I like to roll my shoulders up, back, let them relax down, closing your eyes so your chin is parallel to the floor. And if your pelvis is tilting at all, it's tilting slightly forward. And the rest is just stacked. We're going to just start to arrive in this room. You become aware of the sounds, the air moving, noticing the breath, noticing without controlling the breath. How's your breathing? So yoga is union, and we know that's with the breath. And today, I think what I'd like to do is also ask, how are you talking to yourself? What are you saying to yourself? And yoga is a great simulator for that because, like life, there are times that you are bored, that you are challenged, that you are not challenged, that you like what you're doing, you don't like what you're doing. You're telling yourself stories about whether you can or cannot do it. And what we want to do is actually just notice what we're telling ourselves without judging. Let's make a note, because if we judge, it hides, it runs away. Or it says, I'm good, and we want more of that, but that's not what we want. We just want to know, what are we saying to ourselves? So I'll remind you frequently of that and just take note. Don't judge it. Don't push it away. Don't bring it closer. Just mental note. What was I saying to myself in this moment? Maybe bringing an Ujjayi breath, an ocean breath with a slight constriction at the back of your throat. And starting to maybe lengthen the breath here. And checking, are your hips level? Are your collarbones level? Feel free at any time to change positions. You're not committed. You can kneel, you can put your feet out, whatever you need to do to make this sustainable for another minute or so. The goal just to be where the body is. For the mind to be where the body is, and then also to notice, what are we saying? Well, let's all sync up. Exhale. As we inhale, let's raise the arms all the way up, looking up slightly, and then let's hook the thumbs and actively pull apart your hands. And then inhale just a little higher, and then exhale over to the right. Keep the left hip grounded. This should be a stretch from your fingertips all the way down through the left hip. Your head can be neutral, your head can look down. And on an inhale, come back up. You're still actively pulling your hands apart. On an exhale, other side. Neck can be neutral, can look down. I like to look down. Grounding the right hip, stretching all the way from the fingertips through that hip, and then inhaling back up. Let's just exhale down. Grab a strap and rearrange if you're not comfortable. If you made a choice that you regret, instead, and a word to say it, that like, let's just rearrange that right now. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to sitting on a block, and then we're going to take the strap slightly wider than your shoulders. We're going to be doing this. So if you have an idea of where this is, that's where you want the strap to be. And when we do this, the goal is to have a straight line, so without breaking the wrist. So all exhale, sync up here, and then inhale up, exhale down and behind you. And then inhale back up. And feel free to adjust. Needed, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. You want to feel a little bit of a stretch. You don't want to feel pain. And check again, are you breaking your wrists? Are they in a straight line? And let's inhale up and hold. Let's exhale to the right, looking down. Breathing into the left side. And inhale back up. On the other side, we're going to drop the left hand. Keeping the arms straight, looking down or up. And stretch here is in your right side. Inhale and back up. Let's just do a couple more drop down behind. Inhaling back up. And then exhale down. Let's start in a child's pose. Balasana. So that is the end of the bolster's usefulness for the foreseeable future. So we can go ahead and remove those props. Maybe have a blanket if your knees kind of get tender, to have some padding underneath there. So Balasana, child's pose, either knees together, feet together. You can come back if you're interested. This is traditional. And in this case, a lot of times you'll see people put their arms down by their sides. This stretches the lower back. More commonly, and what we are going to do if we can, come back up and let's move the knees out as wide as or wider than the mat with the toes touching. And then actively tent your fingers, walk them out, keeping the arms lifted up. And if you can, rest your head on the mat. Engaging your shoulders here. So engaging the traps and dragging with your fingertips back towards you. And we're basically encouraging the shoulders to come onto the back while still relaxing the neck. So inhale this whole conglomeration up just a few inches, and then we're going to walk over to the right. Just gently, fingers are still tented, arms are still straight and engaged. Then lower the head back down. My right elbow is bent here in an effort to help me keep my hips level. And again, the side stretch all the way down through the left hip. And let your breath expand there. On an inhale, raise back up slightly. We're going to walk our tented strong fingers back to the center and then all the way over to the left. Again, engaging the muscles of the arm and pulling the shoulder blades onto the back. This is active, 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 but relaxing the neck, releasing the head. And then breathing into the right side, the lower rib cage. Any tightness there. Lifting up slightly, walking your active fingers back. The center and just centering again and pushing back slightly. Maybe shift your shoulders side to side. Not a big movement, just where's the range of motion with my fingers active like this. And then bring your hands under your shoulders and pushing into your hands. Bring your legs in and we're going to come to table. And I might have a little bit of different cues for the feet here, but humor me or go with whatever feels right. I should have said this earlier. Anything that I do, I'm inviting you guys to practice the way that I practice. But I will often speak in commanding. I will speak in commands. I will say, do this, do this, do this. I think it goes without saying that you don't have to listen to me. So one thing I do want to say, if you ever need to come out of a pose, just pick a pose now where you're comfortable and safe. So mine is child pose. If I am getting into something where, you know, my heart rate's up, I need to take a break, I'll come into child's pose. I feel safe in child's pose. You can be on your back with the knees bent, wherever you need to be. So here from table, let's just go ahead and bring our left foot between the hands to start. The back toes are going to be tucked. And then coming up onto that knee, just going to flare out the left side a little bit and come back to center. And then knitting this part of the ribs down. So what we're avoiding is collapsing. So slightly flaring out, knitting this together, and then hands to the knee, coming forward ever so slightly with your hips very level. This is very nice. And then on an inhale, sinking the hips back, we're going to come into a runner's lunge, Hanuman prep. So maybe take that hip out to the left, turning, the toes will turn in. Move the hip to the inside. And your toes here are just kind of making a windshield wiper motion. And then find a place where it feels level. If we need blocks, that's cool. Keeping the spine straight. Just do one more inhale and then on an exhale, let's switch. Pulling that foot back. I'm gonna grab my blocks because I need them. And I'm gonna bring my right foot forward this time. Tucking my left toes. And we're gonna go through the same checklist here. So first, leaning that hip out, knitting the ribs together, and then coming up and saying, is this level? Are my hips level here? To a lot of people, this feels more flary than normal, but it's more sustainable also. And then maybe just leaning into it just a little. On an exhale, you can take your hands down to the blocks. Push the hip back, maybe walk the foot forward, flex the foot. We're in runner's lunge or Hanuman prep. And again, we're just gonna check the hip placement by flaring out flaring in and letting the toes go with that. Your toes will turn in, your toes will turn out. And then finding neutral placement somewhere here. And again, checking the cervical, or pardon, the lower back. So you want to maintain a curve in your lower back. Spine is straight, hips are level, and again, it feels a little bit flary to most people, more flared than usual. And it seems like a good time to ask, what are we saying to ourselves right now? Are we avoiding, like, dislike? I'm the greatest runner's lunge person in the world. Grab on our blocks, push through our hands, come back to tabletop, however that feels good to you guys. And then walk your hands up about a handprint. And we're gonna come into down dog by tucking our toes, making our core very strong, and then hovering our knees off the mat. Again, with the flaring of the behind. So it's gonna feel like you're sticking your butt out a little bit. And then straightening the knees into that. Keeping your strong core and keeping the bottom ribs from flaring. And then just pedal out here. Get adjusted. Lower the right foot, lower the left foot, wiggle, do whatever we need. First dog. Eventually come to stillness. Walk the left foot in about 2 inches. Lifting the right leg, toes are pointing down. We're in three-legged dog. From here, opening and stacking the hips with that leg still straight. Shoulders are still level. And finally, bending the knee and opening if that's accessible. And maybe you're looking under the armpit and catching a glimpse of that foot. On an inhale, come back to just stacked. And your next breath, turn back to three-legged dog. Toes are flexed. And exhale that down. Rearrange, wiggle, however we gotta do it. Next inhale, go ahead and raise the other leg straight up, toes point down. Foot is flexed. Shoulders are level. Hips are pretty level here. Looks good, guys. And then open up, just stack the straight leg above the other leg. So not bending yet, but just stacking here. And then bending the knee and really opening up, but trying to keep those shoulders level, looking under the opposite armpit. Maybe you see the foot, maybe you don't, maybe it's not important. Then we'll inhale back up to stacked and to three-legged dog with the toes pointing down. Lower that leg mindfully. We're in down dog. Let's inhale up on tippy toes. Exhale back. Inhale, tippy toes. And from here, look between your hands. Step, fall, hop. However we get to the front, we're forward folding with our knees bent. Grabbing opposite elbows. So knees need to be probably bent here at first. Feet are parallel, they're about hip width. And then release the neck. So shake your head, yes. Shake your head, no. See if the neck's trying to contribute something here. The weight is even and even slightly forward in your feet. Everything is just kind of, this is called ragdoll for a reason. Everything's relaxed above the waist. And then bring your hands to our hips with the elbows pointing up. Knees are still bent, flat back. Now on an inhale, just standing up. Hands to our heart. On an inhale, let's raise our arms all the way up. Reach up, look up beyond the thumbs, and exhale, reverse swan dive. Knees are bent slightly. All the way to forward fold. Knees can be bent or straight, whatever you're feeling. Inhale to flat back. Shins, ground. And then let's step back into plank. Pushing the ground away. You're pushing through your heels. Your core is engaged. The option here is to drop the knees. If you find yourself starting to come up or down, drop the knees. Otherwise, I'm gonna look at our right hand, make our right hand very strong, gripping and clawing the mat, and just roll over onto the edge of the right foot. We're going for side plank. Now, can also be on your knee. And if you're here comfortably, reaching up, pressing through the hips, looking up. And what are you saying to yourself now? Because I am saying some things to myself. On an exhale, come back down to plank. Let's lower the knees and go back to a brief child's pose. Head to the mat, just check in. One side feeling different than the other. Maybe roll side to side. And inhale. Coming back up to table and then back up to plank. We're gonna do the other side. So the left hand is gripping the mat. Shoulders in the socket. As we rotate onto the edge of the left foot, or the knee can be down. Gripping the mat, clawing the mat. And check your collarbone. Are your collarbones even? Neither shoulder should be rounding. And looking up if you're comfortable here, and then exhaling back to plank. And let's go ahead and lower down chaturanga all the way to your belly. Coming up to Sphinx pose. Sphinx pose is your elbows under your shoulder joints. Your neck is an extension of your spine. So the gaze is a little bit above the hands. Palms are down. Top of the feet are pressing down into the mat. The lower back should not be crunched here, but the pelvis is pushing into the mat. And we're not collapsing. So we're pushing the floor away with our forearms, not collapsing into the flexibility of our ribs. This look good. And then taking the right hand parallel to the front of the mat, reach back and see if we can't grab this foot just for a thigh stretch. So we've got the foot inside, outside, wherever we are. We're just pulling it towards the buttocks. And we're really trying to keep the shoulders from collapsing, the hips even. The knees are still drawing together. And on an exhale, release that. Come back to Sphinx. Check our collarbones even, our shoulders even, our hips even. They aren't right now because we just stretched. And then turning the next one parallel to the front of the mat. Making sure our shoulders are not collapsing and reaching back for that other foot. Grabbing it, bringing it towards the buttocks. Hips will push evenly into the mat. The top of the left foot pushes into the mat. The left forearm is pushing. We are not collapsing our chest. Our collarbones are even. Our gaze is slightly above the mat. Neck an extension of the spine. And then keeping the foot where it is with your strength, release the hand. And then lower the foot. Lower down and turn your head to the left. Arms by your side, so the hands to the mat. Big toes come together. Heels roll open. And we're just gonna take a quick breather. And again, what are we saying to ourselves? Like, dislike. Are we checked out? Inhale, lift the head and turn the head to the other side. Ear to the mat. Lower back and everything is relaxed. And how are we breathing? On an inhale, let's come to neutral and bring the shoulders, the hands under the shoulders, tuck the toes, using the hands push up to and through table and up back to downward dog. Making any little motions that are necessary and eventually coming to dog, straightening the arms, shoulder blades are broad, moving apart. Heels are moving towards the mat. Lower belly is engaged. Arms are strong. Curve is preserved in your back. Bend the knees if that curve starts to go away, bend the knees. And then here we are again. Let's go on our tippy toes, lift between the hands, and then step, jump, hot, fall. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Maybe a little deeper this time. Micro bend in the knees. Let's hang out here for a second. Do we feel a difference? Inhaling all the way up, bending the knees. Reaching up, looking up. Exhale, let's go right back down. Flat back, forward fold. Inhale to flat back. Let's go ahead and step both feet back. One more time, I want to just lift the right leg up, stack the hip, bend the knee. Check your shoulders that they are level. Look under that armpit towards the foot. And if you're getting a glimpse of the foot and feeling good, tent the right fingers. So we're preparing to take weight off of that hand by tenting the fingers on the same side of the leg that is raised. And then maybe just briefly seeing if we can keep our shoulders steady while taking some of that weight off. Then coming back to three-legged dog. Lowering that leg, raising the other leg. Toes are flexed. Stack the hips. Open, bend the knee. Look under that armpit. Check that your shoulders, collarbones are level, and then see if you can just tent the fingers of your left hand. And if you're here tented, maybe you just take a little bit of that weight off. Maybe hover for just a minute. Do you think you can hover? Do you care if you can hover? Bring the leg back to three-legged dog. Lowering with control. Look between the hands, step, jump, hop, walk, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up. Reach up, look up, back around, into the heart. So let's grab our strap. And let's see. Everybody's got a wall within proximity. So pick a side so that you're facing me. So you guys are good. And just prepare. Prepare to love the wall. So on our strap, we're gonna fold it in two. And then step into it with the outside foot that's not close to the wall. And you're gonna place it right at maybe a little bit below the ball of the foot. Bring the ends together. Take this hand, outside hand, and come in around and grip it at a reasonable distance. So if you're a person that can easily grab their toes, you are going to want to be closer. If you have tighter hamstrings, maybe further away. I'm good about here, but changes day to day. From here, we're just going to touch the wall because it's our friend. Put the weight in the other foot. And we're just going to say to ourselves, we can stand on this foot. And then we're going to raise the knee, just the knee. Keeping the ribs tight. We're going to stand up, bringing the whole configuration with us. Check our hips. Usually I tend to need to flare a little bit here. And then keeping the back straight, we're just going to push into the heel to straighten. As far as is comfortable, to where we don't lose that straight spine. And if we're comfortable here, maybe we go out to the side. You can always come down and reset, trying not to counterbalance our weight. On an exhale, let's come back in. Bend the knee. With control, release the strap. And then let's flip. So, same thing here, strap is in half. We're gonna step into the strap, just below the ball of our foot or right at the ball of our foot. Put the ends of the straps together in one hand, take the outside hand on the inside of the strap, get a grip wherever we anticipate. We can always release and let it out a little bit. Wall is our friend. Weight into the inside foot, just to say, hey, what's up? Yep, you can stand on this. Then bending the knee, flexing the foot, and raising all the way up. And then extending through the heel. Nice. And on an inhale or exhale, maybe we open up. Still pushing through the heel. You guys look so great. Inhaling back to center. Bend the knee, foot is still flexed. Release the strap. Gently lower the foot. From here, again, whichever way you are that you can face me, whatever foot, come out wide angled or wide legged. So about where your ankles are into your wrists. And then turn the foot out that it is away from the wall. And maybe start to swing. So the back foot is at a 45-degree angle. We're in warrior two. I like to do the same flary thing where I flare out, knit my ribs down, bring the whole thing back. Pull my arms together, engage the tricep. Maybe I sink a little lower. Flipping the front hand. Inhaling up, arch. Exhale back to warrior two. Flipping the foot in. Do the same on the other side. Just turning the opposite foot out. Back foot is about a 45-degree angle. You'll feel it. Bending into that knee. I like to flare out, knit my ribs down, bring the whole thing back up together. Then I pull my arms in towards each other. I engage my triceps, sink a little bit deeper. What are you saying to yourself right now? On an inhale, flip the palm, up, look up. Exhale, we're gonna go back to warrior two. Turn the toes in. Let's go ahead and grab our blocks and put them at either side of your mat. So same thing. We're gonna come back into the warrior two where we were. Bending the front knee, 45-degree angle-ish. On the back foot. I flare a little bit, I knit my ribs together, bring the whole thing back up. Sink a little deeper. My arms draw towards each other. My triceps are engaged. I'm gonna pull back a little bit. On an inhale, straighten the front leg. On an exhale, lean forward, 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 and then down to the block, or to the floor, or to your leg. And then wherever you are, push an invisible wall away with your top hand. And make sure the lower collarbone is not collapsing in. My tendency is to round, and I see other people doing it. So both collarbones are broad, looking up. And exhale, bring that top hand to the hip. We're gonna bend the knee and walk the back leg in just a bit. And then we are going into half moon, which is the same, you wanna watch, same stacked action as we did before. So our hips, we're in a plane here, a glass plane. A lot of times it's easier with the hand on the head. Foot is flexed and you're pushing through that heel and it activates some part of your hip flexor that allows that same rib action. Knitting together. If we're comfortable here and we open up. Turn your gaze down to the block. Put your hand back to your hip and let's come out of it the same way we came in, just stepping comfortable distance. Then let's do the hip shake. That's in the Vedas. Same thing, let's go into warrior two. As we were before. So, layering, rib knits together. Bring that all up, sink a little deeper. Arms pull towards the midline. Legs pull towards the midline, triceps are engaged. And then on an inhale, straighten front leg. Then reach, 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 reach. And find a block, your shin, the floor. Wherever you are, looks real good. So the priority is the spine being straight. Good. So good, you guys. And check your collarbones. I was just rounding. From that top hand to the hip, bend the front leg. Move that leg in a reasonable distance from which you can hop. And just lift up, pressing through that heel, stacking the hips just like we did in down dog. And if you are there, maybe raising the arm. Very nice. And looking down at the block, bringing the hand to the hip and then lowering slowly to a reasonable distance. And coming back to center and doing the ancient hip shake. I'm gonna do one more before we get to the ground. So let's all meet in table, however we're gonna get there. And what I wanna do is kind of the same concept that we were doing in three-legged dog where we're lifting, we're tenting and then lifting a little bit, only in plank. So just watch me first because I don't know that I'll explain this properly. If I'm on my right hand, the outside of my right foot is going to be bearing the weight. My shoulders in my socket, I'm gripping the mat. The weight is in the lower leg, but I'm gonna put this foot here. And then I'm like, side plank, woohoo, pretty neat, yeah. From there, we're just gonna see if we can lift this front leg. The next step would be to actually grab that and do what we did on the wall with the foot. But let's start there. So, and this is the last super weird thing I'm gonna do. Maybe. But I'll go with our right hand. So let's start with our right hand in table. Make sure the shoulder's in the socket and that it's strong to start, and we're gripping the mat. Go ahead and come into side plank. Just regular old side plank. Bring the top foot down to the mat. You guys can go up if we're comfortable here. And the next thing we would do is weight the foot and start to see if we can control this. Maybe just touch, touch. And then just come down. I know people that are like, touch, beep, beep. Like, no, that's physical, maybe. Other side, the left hand grips the mat, shoulders in the socket. Turning onto the side of the left foot and arm go up, leg can come in front. So this leg isn't bearing a whole lot of weight here. So let's check, are our collarbones even? Mine were not, I just fixed mine. What are we saying to ourselves right now? And then maybe seeing, can we toe touch? Can we control it? Just a little bit. Then let's come back around and down. Front of the mat, push back into any child's pose. If it's wide, your knees are too far beyond the mat, your toes are touching. Lowering the head and the arms down. Observing any changes in the breath. Maybe rocking side to side. Bring our hands under the shoulders and push up just briefly. Under our backs. Nope. I like to do the lizard pose. Let's grab our blocks. Because lizard is so good after a lot of stuff for the outer hips to process when you're trying to, I would like you to balance and ding, ding, ding. So tabletop. And then just bring these to the left side slightly and bring the right foot forward. We're not sinking into our hips. And then from here, if you can come lower without collapsing that lower hip, you might need to walk that leg back a little bit. Your toes can be out at an angle. I think I have weird hips. Just a very slight angle if there is any. Core is still working, engaged. And inhale, push into the blocks. Bring that leg back. We're just gonna switch. Bring the left leg forward. Box it to the inside of the foot. Checking that we're not collapsing in the hips, that we're very even. Spine is long, and then gently lowering. You can bring your forearms to the block. This is a good outside of the hip thing. And inhale your gaze to neutral and use your hands to push you up and back. And now for real, onto the back. Last time that I'm gonna, oh no, oh my God. 10 minutes. So let's grab our strap and we're gonna do something really similar to what we did on the wall. So laying back, knees bent at first. And let's just reach down and lasso, get a hold of that right leg, same spot, right at or below the ball of the foot. And just find where it is comfortable to keep both your hips on the mat. That can be here. That can be here. Wherever you are, just relax your shoulders to the mat because we got a lot of strap to work with here. You can find our breath again. And if we're good here, then extending that left leg out. Foot is also flexed and active. Left thigh is grounding towards the ground, as are most things that are grounding. Push through the heel of the right foot. Check. Are your hips level? And let's move the strap into into the left hand. Right arm goes out, and the leg comes just ever so slightly across the midline. Hello, IT band. I feel this in my outer hip a lot. I feel it a lot. Let's inhale back up. Bend the left leg, put the sole of the foot on the floor, unstrap the foot. Let's come back to neutral. Let's windshield wiper the hips, check in. Hello, hips. And come back to neutral. While we're in neutral again, just checking, are the hips level here? Are the collarbones level here? And with the strap, let's reach down, lasso the left foot this time, just below or at the ball of the foot, and pushing out through the heel to wherever we're feeling a comfortable stretch, which again can be different side, almost certainly is different side to side, but it can be here. It can be many, many places. Discomfort is normal. Pain is no bueno. Shoulders are relaxed. And extending the bottom right leg, but the foot there is still active and flexed, and that thigh, the inner thigh, is moving towards the ground, and the hips again are still level. Moving both ends of the strap together and grabbing them with your right hand, we are going to keep all this activity and move it ever so slightly across the midline until we feel that stretch. I can move mine about 3 inches. And I'm checking on my hips level. Yes, they are. Such an amazing stretch for so little movement. Just inhale that back to center. Bring the right sole of the foot to the ground. Release that leg. Release the strap. Let's go ahead and windshield wiper again. Coming back to center, let's take our left ankle and cross it over our right knee. The left foot is flexed to protect our knee. And then just active range of motion and push that knee towards the floor to be level with the foot. And this might be as far as we go, and that's just great. We still feel like we've got some motion there. We will grab behind the right thigh at the belly of the muscle, keeping the left foot flexed, and then maybe you straighten that leg, the right leg. Again, with the level hips, that's the theme of today, along with what are you saying to yourself right now? All right, hips level. Are both sides of our hips still in contact with the mat? And can you kind of arch and flare a little bit if they're not, to feel that curve return to your lower spine, pushing the hips evenly into the mat? If your leg is straight, go ahead and bend it and let it sit down. Lower the whole thing. Right sole of the foot comes to the floor as close to the high knee as you can get it. Arms come to a T and just gently lower into a twist with the left sole of the foot making contact maybe with the floor. Might readjust your shoulders to look over the left hand. Palms are down or up if you have a strong preference. Exhale, bring your head to neutral. Inhale the legs up. We're back in this figure four. One more time, just kind of making sure the hips are even pushing the knee away. And then releasing that ankle, both feet to the floor. Walk, excuse me, walk your feet out to about the distance of your mat. Feet are still parallel, you're just a little bit wider, and let the knees fall together. If you are comfortable, if you're good, you can bring the hands above the head to opposite elbows. This is called constructive rest. And it's an odd feeling in your hips, but I like it. And I think it's hitting that same muscle that it takes to sustain side plank. Walk the heel toe of the feet back together. Bring the arms down. Take the right foot. I'm going to go with right. I'm betting on right. Crossing over the left knee. And at first, just pushing the knee down here. And I'm going to level my hips. Make sure they're pushing even into the mat. And I'm pushing my right knee down. My right foot is flexed. I'm going to bring my arms out to a T for the moment, but not for long, because we are going to go ahead and bring this whole configuration up and reach down to the belly of the muscle and pull it towards us. Both feet flexed. If we're good here, extending the top leg also. Hamstrings get involved here. Shoulders should attempt relaxation. Grounding the hips. Toes may turn slightly in. The thighs should be spiraling in. Maybe just pushing the hips into the mat, the lower back curving just a little bit more, and bending the knee with the foot still flexed, coming down to the mat, make contact with the mat. Even out our hips, press the knee and make sure we're level here. Arms come to a T, palms down, and then just lower over to the left, bringing the sole of the right foot to the mat if it makes it there. If it does not, any other twist here that your body will accept is comfortable. Looking over the right shoulder. Collarbones are even here. So one shoulder is not turning in and one is not turning out. They're even. Breathing and checking in again. What are we saying? How are we feeling? How is the breath? Next, exhale, bring the head even to look at the sky. Inhale the legs up back to the figure four. Push the knee down a little bit one more time, making sure the hips are level. And there, bringing both feet to the mat. Let's take our arms next to our ribs, our elbows next to our ribs, walk the feet in, the heels as close to the behind as we can conceive of right now. Push into the backs of the arms, into the backs of the head. And right now, my chest comes up from that motion. My hands are still facing each other. And just enjoy that motion. If we don't have that motion, no. Do not pass go. If you are good here, if this is sustainable, then push into the heels to raise the behind. And we're coming towards bridge. We're letting the knees stay parallel if possible. Pushing into the back of the arms, into the back of the head to preserve the cervical curve. And then if you're good here, walking the shoulders one at a time up underneath. Clasping the hands if that's in your practice. If not, just pushing into the tops of the arms. Maybe raising the hips a little higher. And once we're there, relaxing the butt and pressing into the heels. And then again, engaging the glutes, maybe getting a little higher, pushing into the back of the head, back of the arms. One more breath here. Release the shoulder blades. Walk the arms back out, lower it down slowly and with control. Release the shoulders from underneath the back. Heel toe the feet as wide as the mat, or maybe wider if you're feeling wild. And again, we're gonna let the knees fall together. Constructive rest, bringing the arms over the head, grasping opposite elbows and just releasing here. And if opposite elbows is not comfortable, then clasp your hands or bring your arms to a T. Wherever you're at, just being comfortable and safe to let go. See what like, dislike, where we are. Then heel toe back to a center neutral position. Windshield wiper, right, left, all at your own pace. We're gonna have free time here. We got a minute or two. If happy baby is a popular pose here, I noticed. And if we want to do happy baby, we're just gonna grab the outsides of our feet. Grammar is strong today. And then pull the bottoms of the feet. Wait, I'm doing it again. Pull the bottom of the feet towards the floor. Oh boy. And at the same time, trying to make sure that the pelvis tilts forward, that you're not curling up into a little ball. It's the same stretch that you get as with the lizard pose, only it's both sides. And you can rock back and forth. You can straighten one leg. I enjoy that. Straighten the other. Make any last movements you want to make to get yourself comfortable. We're headed for Shavasana if you have any props that you're fond of. If not, we're feeling complete, then all right. So go ahead. That's fine. I'm gonna find my Shavasana song. So if your lower back is bothering you, or if you just enjoy the bolster, then we can put the bolster under the knees here. I do enjoy the bolster under the knees. Wherever we are, coming onto our backs. Extending both legs, checking our hips one more time. Do we have even contact with the mat? And then taking the feet and rolling them in and out, kind of let them land where they want to land. Then taking the hands, clasp them behind your head under that occipital bone and pull up on your neck, just slightly elongating. And gently setting your head down, just getting that extra half inch of length. Take those shoulder blades and kind of roll them so that they are just very slightly touched. So the goal is basically that they are not broadening. We're not trying to broaden the shoulders here. Back of the arms make contact with the mat. And then here we are. And how are we feeling about this? And yeah, how's our breath? Maybe elongating the breath for just a few cycles and then forgetting about the breath. And it's just us and our mats. Hopefully feeling better now than when we walked in. And when the mind wanders, we just bring it back to the breath. And then we let it wander and bring it back to the Here in this space where our body is. So maybe becoming aware of the breath and the sounds and bringing small movement back first, removing any props, rolling side to side, and stretching the arms overhead. Good morning. And if it's comfortable, curling into a little ball, bringing the knees into the chest, maybe rocking side to side, and then finally rolling to the right side. Using your right arm as a pillow. And let's just hang out here for 1 second on our sides, checking in again. Let's use our hands to come up to a comfortable seat, wherever that may be. Long spine, touching either side of the mat. Our collarbones are even and parallel. Whatever one is doing, the other is doing. Closing our eyes. Bring our hands to our heart. Just enjoy this last little bit of time we have together. So maybe everything that we've noticed, maybe this is not enlightenment in the next 30 minutes. But we are just noticing, what do we say to ourselves, and not judging it because we don't want it to hide, because we want to know. And then maybe later looking back, and the step 2 of that part is the question, does it serve you? Not is it right, is it wrong, but does it serve you to talk to yourself like that? Bowing our heads. So much gratitude for you guys. I thank you so much for letting me share my practice with you. Namaste. Thank you so, so much. I will be here for the next 15 minutes, and I would love any feedback because I would just